And so he makes this turn, and as he does, he looks up, and what he sees kind of startles him.
Matt Higgins is a young Oregonian whose quest for adventure leads him to the daunting Pacific Crest Trail. What starts as a pursuit of freedom turns into a heart-pounding, mysterious tale. Brace yourself for unexpected twists, eerie encounters, and the raw intensity of the wild. Tune in now to witness Matt's unforgettable expedition.
So Matt just continued on, telling himself he would never have to deal with the people in white ever again. However, he would be wrong.
Stay tuned until the end of the video to discover the full story of Matt's encounter with the people in white. In 2007, a movie captured the hearts of many. Its name? Into the Wild. It isn't just any film. It's a cult classic based on a true story. Let's dive into the tale of Christopher McCandless. Ever heard of him? Christopher graduated from a top school in 1990. He's not just any student, he's an honor student. Now, what do you think someone with his credentials does next? You'd expect a high-paying job, right? But hold that thought. Christopher had different plans. What he craved was something other than money or a career. It was freedom. Can you imagine the courage? He makes a bold move. Without a word to his parents, he embarks on an unexpected journey. Why? They wouldn't have approved, of course. He does something extraordinary next. He gives away everything. His possessions, his money, all to charity. Where does he go? To the wilds of Alaska. Alone. He's off the grid, living a life many wouldn't dare to. But why Alaska, you ask? In Alaska, he finds an old city bus. This rusted relic becomes his home. For 113 days, this bus shelters him. It's here that his journey takes a tragic turn. He dies of starvation, a heartbreaking end. But the movie Into the Wild isn't just about tragedy. It celebrates Christopher's unyielding spirit. His quest for freedom is central. It leaves you feeling inspired, not sad. Have you ever felt inspired to chase your dreams, regardless of the risks? This brings us to Matt Higgins, an 18-year-old from Oregon. Like Christopher, Matt is at a crossroads after high school. He's still determining his future. Does he get a job? Go to college? But then, Into the Wild gives him a third option. Matt is captivated by the idea of a wilderness adventure. He sees it as a break from the ordinary, a chance to find himself. After that, he can return to everyday life. But what's his grand plan? In 2008, Matt decided to hike to the Californian section of the Pacific Crest Trail. It's no small feat. The trail is 1,700 miles long. It stretches from the Mexican border to Oregon. Deserts, mountains, dangerous wildlife, it has it all. It is isolated and rugged, not for the faint-hearted. But was Matt ready for it? Matt's no novice hiker. He's seasoned, with experience in Oregon and the western United States. He's faced all kinds of terrains and dangers. He believes he's prepared for his adventure. But can experience alone prepare him for everything? I'll tell you in the next few minutes. As Matt launches on this journey, something unexpected happens. Something no amount of hiking or camping could have prepared him for. What do you think it was? The answer might surprise you. Matt is on the move. He packs up, heads to the airport, and flies to Southern California. His destination? The Mexico border. There, he starts his journey on the Pacific Crest Trail. He was heading north. Imagine that. He is beginning a journey from one border to another. For the first few weeks, Matt's routine is simple. He hikes all day, pushing his limits. Night falls, he's tired. He sets up camp by the trail. A quick meal, then sleep in his tent. The next day, the same routine. Rise early, hike, sleep. Simple. But it's not all smooth sailing. He faces some challenges. Dehydration hits him once, then a close call with a rattlesnake. Scary? Yes, but it's just part of the hike for Matt. Still nothing too out of the ordinary for him. But things are about to change. Matt reaches the Lassen National Forest. It's dense in Northern California, just 150 miles from his journey's end. Oregon's border is closed. But here, the routine ends. The forest changes everything. Have you ever been in a forest so dense that it feels like a different world? He walks a winding path. Trees crowd the trail, forming towering walls. It's quiet, dark, peaceful, with just the sound of birds and insects. Matt enjoys the tranquility. He's in no rush, just meandering through. But then, a sharp turn in the trail. What does he see? About 20 feet away, a startling sight. A large boulder. On it, two middle-aged people, dressed in white, dirty, and messy. The man has a big, unkempt beard. They stare intensely at Matt. How would you feel in his shoes? Matt feels awkward. He looks down and keeps walking. Nears them, looks up, smiles, waves. "Hi," he says. No response, just that intense stare. He walks past, feeling their gaze on his back. Matt is puzzled and uncomfortable. Why didn't they respond? It's strange on the Pacific Crest Trail. People rarely see each other. Days can pass without human contact. Matt hadn't seen anyone for days until these two. Isn't it odd they didn't react? He tries to brush it off, thinks maybe they're foreign, didn't understand him. But still, it doesn't feel nice. Why is there no acknowledgement? Matt tells himself it's not his business. He doesn't know their story, but it's hard to shake off the encounter. What would you do in his shoes? Matt keeps walking. He doesn't look back at the two people in white. Hours later, as the sun sets, visibility drops. He's still on the winding trail. Tall trees crowd around. It's time to find a campsite. But there's a problem. The trees are too close to the trail. There's only room for a camp blocking the path. What does Matt do? He decides not to block the trail. Instead, he heads into the forest. About 300 feet in, Matt finds a clearing, perfect for his tent. He sets up camp, makes food on his little stove, eats, then he takes care of the leftovers. He knows the drill, puts them in a waterproof bag, ties it to a tree branch high off the ground. Why? To keep the bears away. Smart move, right? It's pitch black outside. Matt zips up his tent, gets into his sleeping bag, and falls asleep. The following day, he wakes up at sunrise. It's still dark. He unzips his tent, looks outside. Something's wrong. His food bag is gone. What happened? Matt steps out and looks around. No bag on the ground. It just vanished. He wonders, did a bear take it? He didn't hear anything. He goes to the tree. He looks for bear prints to confirm his suspicion. But what he finds is shocking. There are no bear prints. Instead, 2 sets of human boot prints. They're not his. What's going on? He realizes something. The prints aren't just under the tree. They're everywhere. Around his tent, all over his campsite. Matt's mind races. How is this possible? He thinks back. He went to bed in pitch darkness, woke up at dawn. These people, whoever they are, came in total darkness. They navigated 300 feet off the trail silently. How did they do it without waking him? Matt connects the dots. The 2 people in white. They must have followed him. They saw where he left the trail, waited for him to sleep. Then they robbed him. But are they still around, watching him? He starts looking around, half expecting to see the man and woman in white. But there's no one. Still, he feels watched. Uncomfortable, he packs up fast, heads towards the trail. He can't shake the feeling. Are they going to jump out? Grab him from behind? He walks faster and faster. What would you do in his shoes? Reaching the trail, He gazes down and up. He looks everywhere. No one's in sight. Okay, they're gone, he tells himself. Taking a deep breath, he calms down. Then he starts walking north along the trail. Matt walks for hours. He keeps glancing over his shoulder. He's expecting to see the man and the woman in white, but they never appear. The narrow path through the dense forest leads to a big, beautiful field. The sun is high in the sky. Walking in this open area, Matt feels the sunlight on him. What do you think he's feeling now? Despite being rattled the night before, Matt starts to relax. He's less paranoid now. He thinks about the people in white. They were probably just hungry, he reasons. They needed the food more than I did. They can have it. With that thought, Matt continues on. He's convinced he'll never see the people in white again. But is he right to think so? For the next 3 days, Matt keeps moving north through the Lassen forest. The trail alternates between open areas and dense forests. During these days, he doesn't see the people in white. No more spooky encounters. Nothing gets stolen. Matt thinks he was just a target of opportunity. They've taken what they wanted. They're not following me. But what's about to happen on the 4th day? On that day, things turn spooky again. In a densely forested area, Matt leaves the trail. He needs a clearing for his tent. He walks several hundred feet and finds a spot. He sets up his tent. He also arranges a perimeter of sticks around his campsite. Why sticks, you ask? It's an early warning system. If an animal or person gets too close, the sticks will break. They'll alert Matt. After setting up camp, Matt eats quickly. He stores his food and climbs into his tent. He falls asleep. What do you think will happen next? Matt's eyes flick open in the dead of night. His tent is engulfed in darkness. No light, no windows. He can't see a thing. He wonders, why am I awake? He lies still, his ears straining for any sound. What could have woken him up? Suddenly, he hears it. A sharp crack. One of his perimeter sticks is broken. His heart skips a beat. Could it be an animal? Or worse, a person just feet away from him? How would you feel in his shoes? Quietly, very quietly, Matt moves. He reaches for his hunting knife. He knows he needs to be ready. More footsteps crunch outside. They're not stopping. They don't care about the noise. Is it someone bold or something wild? Remember, not long ago he had uninvited visitors. They took his food. They could be back. Now, lying there, knife in hand, Matt prepares himself. He's alone, far from help. If it's a person, they're no friend. He's tense, ready to react. The steps come closer, ever closer. They halt right next to his head, barely a foot away. He can't see anything in the pitch black, but now, something more chilling, whispering. It's not just near him, it's all around. The forest itself seems to whisper. Who is it? What do they want? Matt's mind races. He's on high alert. The unknown is always more frightening, isn't it? Matt's breath quickens. He clutches the knife tighter. Every sense is heightened. He listens to the eerie whispers. They sound like they're closing in, from every direction. A shiver runs down his spine. What's lurking in the darkness? Time seems to stand still. Every second feels like an eternity. Matt wonders, should I call out or stay silent? He weighs his options. Calling out could reveal his position, but silence feels like surrender. What would you do? The whispers grow louder, more insistent. Matt's heart pounds in his chest. He's ready to defend himself. But against what? Or whom? His mind is a whirlwind of thoughts. Fear mixes with adrenaline. He's on the edge, waiting for the next move. Suddenly, the whispers stop. Silence falls over the forest. It's deafening. Matt's grip on his knife tightens. He listens for any sign of movement, but there's nothing, just the sound of his own breathing. The tension is unbearable. Minutes drag on. Matt's eyes strain in the darkness, trying to see, but it's useless. He's blind in this blackness. He wonders, is the danger gone, or is it just waiting? The night air feels colder now. He's alone with his thoughts and his fears. Matt knows he must stay vigilant. He can't let his guard down. Not yet. The night is long, and anything could happen. What will the morning bring? Will he see the light of day again? Matt's adventure in the wilderness is far from over. The forest holds secrets and dangers. He must be ready for anything. But for now, he waits in the dark, listening, watching, wondering what comes next. Suddenly, footsteps circle his tent. Frantic whispers fill the air again from every direction. Matt freezes in terror. He clutches the knife, but can he use it? He's petrified. Then, as quickly as it started, it stopped. The whispers fade. The footsteps cease. It's a relief, but also worrying. Why don't the footsteps retreat into the forest? Why is there only silence? Is someone still out there, just standing, waiting? Matt can't see through the darkness. He can't check outside. What do you think is going through his mind? He stayed in his place, full of questions. Are there 1, 2, 3, or even 10 people outside? He has no idea. The uncertainty is terrifying. The silence is deafening. Matt's heart pounds in his chest. Every sound is amplified. A leaf rustles. Is it the wind or something else? He remembers the broken stick from earlier. Someone or something was close. But who or what? The mystery deepens. Matt's mind races. Should he shout? Should he stay silent? What's the best move? Each option has risks. The night feels endless. Every minute is a test of his nerves. He's alone with his fears, alone in the dark. The unknown looms large. He clings to the knife. It's his only defense, but will it be enough? Doubt creeps in. His thoughts spiral. The situation feels hopeless. Matt reflects on his journey. How did it come to this? A simple hike turned into a nightmare. Nature's beauty has a dark side. He wonders, what will the morning bring? Will the danger pass, or will it escalate? Only time will tell. The forest holds its secrets tightly, and tonight, it's not sharing them. Matt waits, listens, and hopes for dawn. What will the new day reveal? The forest keeps its secrets for now. As the sun peeks over the horizon, Matt experiences another morning filled with unease. Are they still lurking outside, he wonders, unable to shake the thought. Despite not hearing any footsteps retreating, curiosity and a bit of fear push him to action. With a swift motion, he unzips the tent flap, his heart racing. He peeks outside, expecting the worst, but to his surprise, there's no one. Armed and vigilant, he steps outside, knife in hand, ready to confront any hidden threat. He scans the area. Still nothing. It's eerily quiet. This absence of danger doesn't reassure him. Instead, Matt's mind races with questions. Were they just a few feet away, silently watching? The thought sends a shiver down his spine. He surveys the campsite, half expecting to see the mysterious people in white lurking behind the trees. but all he meets is silence and emptiness. Doubt begins to seep in. Was this all a figment of my imagination? A vivid nightmare, perhaps? He ponders this until his eyes fall on undeniable proof. Clear boot prints surrounding his tent. They form a distinct path, indicating this nightmare was a reality. Now, urgency takes over. He hastily packs everything, shouldering his backpack. Without hesitation, he starts running towards the trail, his mind set on one goal: to get out of Lassen National Forest. I need to leave this place, escape the territory of the people in white, he thinks, his steps quickening. Driven by fear and the need for safety, he pushes himself throughout the day, moving as fast as his legs can carry him. By late afternoon, Matt finally leaves the ominous forest behind. Relief floods him as he reaches a small, welcoming town at the edge of the forest. That night, he decides to camp near the town. Safety and civilization are his top priorities now. Lying in his tent, he can't help but replay the events of the past few days. Those people in white, they're undoubtedly behind these eerie encounters, he concludes. The first incident, where his food was stolen, seems understandable now, but the second encounter baffles him. How did they manage to follow me without a trace, he questions, puzzled by their stealth. Moreover, their actions at the campsite perplex him. The whispering, the walking around, what were they doing? And how did they disappear so silently without leaving a trace? These thoughts swirl in Matt's mind, leaving him restless. He tries to make sense of it all, but sleep eventually claims him, leaving the questions unanswered. What do you think about Matt's mysterious encounters? Have you ever felt watched or followed in a similar way? Let's hear your stories. On the next day, Matt wakes up with a heavy thought. The people in white. What were they doing? Why? Where could they be now? These questions play on a loop in his mind. As he starts packing up, a thought strikes him. Maybe I should just end this hike. Should I call my family to pick me up? But quitting doesn't feel right. This hike, this enormous journey he had embarked on, means everything to him. He's already conquered over 1,600 miles. Only 100 miles to the finish line. Giving up now? That's not an option for Matt. Determined, he packs his gear, hoists it on his shoulder, and sets out again. His journey takes him away from the small town and deeper into another forest, the Mount Shasta Forest. This forest is not just any ordinary forest. It's similar to Lassen Forest, but with a more disturbing background. Mount Shasta is infamous for mysterious disappearances. People often vanish here, and the circumstances are always bizarre. The stories that stand out the most, those where a hiker disappears in the blink of an eye. They're there one moment, gone the next, leaving no trace behind. Despite extensive searches, they're never seen again. The number of missing persons in Mount Shasta is alarmingly high. With these unnerving thoughts, Matt ventures into Mount Shasta Forest. The dense trees and narrow paths create an oppressive atmosphere. Is someone or something watching me? He can't help but wonder, his eyes constantly scanning the surroundings. Despite the creeping fear, he remains focused. Just keep moving forward, he tells himself. You're so close to finishing this. For the first 3 days in Mount Shasta, Matt is a picture of determination. He hikes tirelessly, setting up his camp in the evenings, either near the trail or in a clearing off the path. He encounters no one during these days, not the people in white nor anyone else. But the 4th day in Mount Shasta Forest is different. On the 4th day of his journey, Matt's path takes a different turn. He steps out of the dense forest and onto an open trail winding up the side of a mountain. This trail, elevated and surrounded by sparse tree coverage, offers him an excellent view. He can see miles ahead and miles behind. As he walks, Matt enjoys the scenery. The day is beautiful, the sky clear. He feels a sense of peace in this openness. Throughout the day, Matt keeps a habit of looking behind him. He's been vigilant, constantly checking his surroundings. No one has been in sight all day, but this time, as he turns around, he notices something unusual. Far in the distance, two small white dots are slowly making their way along the same trail. It's them, the people in white. They're back. Realization dawns on Matt. He's over 50 miles from where he first saw them sitting on that boulder. This means two crucial things. First, his suspicions are confirmed. The people in white have indeed been following him. They're likely responsible for the unnerving visits he experienced at night. Second, and more disturbingly, they're still on his trail. For reasons unknown to Matt, they persist in their pursuit. At this moment, Matt's priorities shift dramatically. Completing his hike, a goal he held dear, suddenly becomes irrelevant. All he wants now is to escape these relentless followers. He quickly pulls out his map, seeking a way out. But what he sees fills him with dread. He's in one of the most isolated stretches of his entire hike. Why are they following me? What do they want? These questions race through Matt's mind. He's far from any help, deep in the wilderness, with mysterious figures tracking his every move. The isolation of his location only adds to the intensity of the situation. He needs to act, and act fast. How can I lose them? Where can I go from here? Matt ponders his options. The vast wilderness around him offers few safe havens. He must make a decision, and every choice carries its own risks. The situation is tense, and Matt knows he must think clearly despite the fear. What will Matt decide? How will he navigate this harrowing situation with the people in white still trailing him? Keep watching to find out. Matt realizes he's a staggering 25 miles from Castella, California, the nearest town, facing a tough choice. With no better alternatives, he tucks the map back into his pocket. He takes one last glance at the people in white. They're getting closer. Matt knows he must act fast. He turns and bolts down the trail, running like never before. Hour after hour, Matt pushes himself. Even when the people in white fade from sight, he doesn't dare stop. As the sun dips below the horizon, the trail becomes a shadowy line. Matt keeps running. The darkness deepens. Finally, when it's so pitch black he can't see the ground, Matt halts, gasping for breath. What does he do next? Matt leaves the trail, plunging deep into the forest. He wants to put as much distance as possible between himself and his pursuers. Far from the trail, he finds a clearing. He sets up his tent right in the center. With meticulous care, he arranges a perimeter of sticks around his campsite, leaving no gaps. Once inside the tent, he zips it up. He stays fully clothed, ready to flee at a moment's notice. Lying in his sleeping bag, Matt is overcome with fear. I must be miles ahead of them by now, he thinks. They couldn't have seen where I went. They can't find me here. Despite his terror, exhaustion creeps in. Matt lies awake for hours, hoping for sleep. The night is eerily silent. He hears nothing. Gradually, the tension of the day weighs on his eyelids. Sleep begins to take its hold. Can I finally rest? He wonders. Am I safe here? His thoughts swirl as he drifts towards sleep. Will Matt's efforts to escape be successful? Can he find peace in this secluded spot? Or will the people in white discover his hiding place? The night is long, and anything is possible. Stay tuned to find out what happens next in Matt's gripping story. Matt grows more exhausted by the minute. Suddenly, a sound pierces the silence. Someone stepping on his stick perimeter. A stick snaps. Whispers rise surrounding the forest. Then, something unexpected happens. Matt's tent lights up like a Christmas tree. Someone is shining a light on it. In the middle of nowhere, someone finds him. They're shining a light on his tent. The light goes out. Silence engulfs the scene. What would you do in Matt's shoes? Matt's instincts take over. He bursts out of his sleeping bag. He jumps outside, screaming and waving a knife. His goal? To scare off the intruders. He stops for a moment. Then, a stick crunches behind him. He spins around. Who could it be? Out of the corner of his eye, he spots a dark figure rushing toward him. Without a second thought, Matt runs. He flees from his campsite. Imagine the fear, the adrenaline. What would be running through your mind? Matt's story is not just a tale of survival. It's a testament to human instinct. How far would you go to protect yourself? His experience in the forest that night is a stark reminder of our primal instincts. When faced with danger, what would you do? Matt's harrowing night in the pitch-black forest intensifies. He's dodging trees and branches, stumbling and falling. Adrenaline surges through him. He's in a frantic sprint. Behind him, someone or something is still in pursuit. Can you feel his heart pounding? 5 minutes into his desperate run, Matt trips. He lands at the base of a fallen tree. This tree, luckily, is propped on a rock, creating a small gap beneath. Matt's quick thinking saves him. He slides under the log, his eyes fixed on the path he just fled. Imagine lying here, heart racing, hiding in the shadows. He spots a light bobbing in the distance. It's them, the ones looking for him. They're searching the forest. Matt watches in horror, hidden under the log. The mysterious figures with the light come closer, but miraculously, they don't find him. They walk past his hiding spot. What would be going through your mind in that moment? Matt remains under the log all night. Dawn breaks, but fear grips him. He stays hidden for hours, even after sunrise. Finally, he emerges in the early afternoon. The coast is clear, yet he doesn't dare go back to his campsite. He fears they might be there, waiting. So he runs. He runs all the way to the trail, then to Castella, California. In Castella, Matt hitchhikes to Mount Shasta. He reports his ordeal to the police and forestry service. They document his experience and provide him shelter. The next day, Matt calls his family. They drive from Oregon to bring him home. Safe at last, but the mystery lingers. Months later, Matt contacts the Mount Shasta authorities again. He's looking for updates. Have they caught the mysterious couple in white? The police reveal something unsettling. Other campers reported thefts, but only Matt was terrorized. The chilling fact remains: Matt was uniquely targeted. These strangers stalked him for nearly 100 miles. How did they keep finding his remote campsites? It's a mystery that haunts him to this day. Who were they? What did they want? The answers remain shrouded in the darkness of that forest night. Matt's story is a testament to the adventurous spirit that dwells within us. It challenges us to embrace the unknown. So, don't miss out. Ready for more adrenaline-pumping action? Click now for another extraordinary tale of survival and mystery that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.